30 years old.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Guess.
15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom is 34.
She's 22? Yeah, she's 22.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. 34.
My mom's age is 22.
38. 38. She's 34.
My mama is 29.
This many.
This many?
I think 99?
99. Okay.
6.
6? Okay.
My mom is 37.
30. Laundry, watch TV, and help us with school.
She gives food to us and takes care of us.
Most of the day, most of the day, as of right now, she's been helping us with our homework and letting us ride our bikes.
Yeah, she loves on you. That's right.
Oh,
She works? What does she work at?
I don't know.
Does she take care of you and Dad?
Yes. She plays with Janie.
What she does for fun is she breaks her arm and makes friends with complete strangers.
Watch us at the front yard. Sleep.
She keeps the family running right all day, every day. She's a champion for that.
Get my go here. Do my go here.
She does your school here?
Clean.
She cleans.
Poop on the.
Poop on you? No, she doesn't. Okay, Zeal, what makes...
We poop on Mom.
Oh, you poop on Mommy? Yeah, well, that might be a little bit closer to accurate.
What she does all day is she just basically watches us, disciplines us, takes care of us, basically.
Usually she either works or she just lays on the couch all day. She snuggles and she's fun.
She does stuff nice.
She does stuff nice.
Yeah.
But she lets us ride our bikes because we really like her bikes.
Yeah, that's right. She makes amazing chicken nuggets, doesn't she?
My mom, Marcia, is very loving and kind and very genuine. She is always intentional with me and wants to get to know me and what's going on in my life. She's also really funny and extremely hospitable.
Dad.
God does?
Yes.
Yeah.
She lets me play outside after schoolwork.
And she's a great mom because she is loving, caring, kind, and the most selfless person that I know.
Letting us ride our bikes. Letting us ride our bikes.
Hi Mom, happy Mother's Day. I just wanted to tell you how much I love you, and I wanted you to know that I absolutely love how supportive you are and how much I appreciate us talking on the phone so much, even though I'm all the way out here in South Carolina. I love, love, love how you always give me advice and tips when I don't know how to season whatever food it is that I'm trying to make, or if I ever just need some advice or someone to talk to for a little bit.
Sleeping all day.
And she's a great mom because she's built me into what I am today, along with my father figure Travis, and love him for that. So, good mom.
Because I love her and we ride a bike.
And you ride your bikes?
Yeah.
God.
God makes her a good mommy. Okay.
Poop on the head.
She poops on heads.
She's a great mom. I wouldn't be the person I am today without my mom. She gives me the best advice that I could ask for whenever I need it. So, that's what makes her a good mom.
She takes good care of us.
Takes good care of you. Does she lay on the couch all day because of coronavirus?
No.
So one of the best memories I have about my wife as a mom was definitely when Jane was born, and it was Christmas, and she brought in all of our other 4 children to see her at the hospital in the NICU. She definitely makes sure and goes out of her way to let the other children know that there's no greater love that she has for any one of them. There's no favorites. She makes them all feel welcome, feel special in their own way. And I love that about her.
My favorite moment of my wife as a mommy, I think, I'm going to be really cliche and cheesy, but I think every day is my favorite. I think just seeing Natalie interact with Liam on a daily basis is really super awesome. It's super sweet. She is an incredible mom. She's very diligent with him. She tries to teach him things, and she's really hands-on. And I think that demonstrates her commitment towards Liam and his development. Natalie is an incredible mom.
My favorite memory of Hannah as a mother was her first Mother's Day ever. Right after Sophie was born, we went out to lunch on Mother's Day at Dough Depot, which is one of our favorite restaurants, and I still remember the dress Hannah was wearing and the shirt Sophie was wearing that said "I love Mom" on it, that we used subsequently for the rest of our girls too. But I just remember how happy Hannah was that day to be a mom and to be able to celebrate being a mother on Mother's Day. That was really, really fun for me to watch.
Well, the day we brought him home from the hospital, there was a look in her eyes. She was lit up on that particular day like nothing you'd have ever seen. My favorite memory of Crystal as a mother, aside from watching her birth all 3 of them, is whenever they come in the morning into the bedroom or into the living room or wherever Crystal is, whenever they wake up and come in, Crystal always, if I look to her, and she always is beaming with this smile, watching her children walk up to her for a morning hug or a morning cuddle session or whatever. And it just, every morning, it makes me so happy to see her smile, and the kids smile back. That's a daily memory that I get to experience.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Yeah, thanks for putting that together. That was awesome. My kids were the one that were saying poop a lot. It is Mother's Day, and it's a happy day. It's a good day. I remember, so in my front yard growing up, there was a wooden fence, but it wasn't like a nice wooden fence. It was like, you know, those like ones that are real beat up, and like it was just like posts, and then there were like two planks going across, and so like I would play on those, and inevitably, because they were always so rough, I would always get a splinter, and I hated that, and I thought I was going to die, and I would go inside crying, and my mom would sit me down in front of our fish tank. We had a fish tank, And she'd sit me down in front of the fish tank, and she's like, just watch your fish. And I'd watch my fish, and I'd look at them, and I'd have my hand in her lap, and before I know it, she'd be done, and I'd still be watching the fish, and she'd go back to cooking, you know, and that was that. And what hurt so bad and what I thought was going to be the end of the world, she took care of it, and I was healed. I was better. It was awesome. So moms are good healers, right? Like we know that just from how their ability to kiss a boo-boo makes it just miraculously feel better. But a better healer would be Jesus. Did you see where I was going? You saw where I was going. I'm really happy I don't have to wear masks like you guys. That's a really good plus side of preaching today. That's really awesome. So sorry, I'm kind of boasting right now, but it's pretty. I don't like my ears. So anyway, so we're going to look at Mark chapter 8. It's going to be up on the screen if you don't want to turn to it, but if you want to, you're encouraged to. Mark chapter 8. We're going to start in verse 22. Mark chapter 8, verse 22. It says, and they came to Bethsaida, and some people brought to him, that be Jesus, a blind man, and begged him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. And when he had spit on his eyes and laid hands on him, he asked him, do you see anything? And he looked up and said, I see people, but they look like trees walking. Kind of reminds you of Lord of the Rings a little bit, maybe? Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he opened his eyes. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. And he sent him to his home, saying, do not even enter the village. So, it's kind of a weird story, really. You got Jesus in this town, and then these friends kind of, you can picture like these people like kind of really coming up on Jesus quick. They swarm him, and then they come up. By the way, I stand on the floor because I like the energy that I have with you guys. Being up here, if I step out of the light, if you guys just want to go like this and just kind of gently remind me to move back, like I'm trying not to, social distancing and all that too. So I'm trying to honor that. And spit. I don't want to spit on you. So anyway, so you picture these people kind of swarming Jesus and coming up on him. And they really want Jesus to heal this blind friend of theirs, right? They have a blind friend that can't see, and they want Jesus. They know Jesus has the power to heal him, so they come and they beg him. It's interesting that they say they beg Jesus to touch him. It doesn't say that they beg Jesus to heal him. It says they beg him to touch him, knowing that there's this power that he has in touching people. And then so they come, please touch our friend. He's blind. He needs to be healed. Okay. And Jesus' response is to grab him by the hand and lead him out of the city because he's blind, right? You got to lead him somewhere. So leads him out of the city. Out of the village, takes him out of the village, and, according to, straight in line with our Western understanding of medicine, he spits right in his eyes. That was sarcasm, right? Because that's not how we do that. I don't know. I wear glasses. I have a really hard time seeing. Anybody else have a hard time seeing without glasses? Yeah? Yeah. Anybody ever spit in your eyes? Anybody ever try that? No? You might want to try it. I'm just... Right, yeah, that'll be your spouse or somebody, somebody that you're already, having a social distance with, that you're isolated with. But try it, try going home and having spit in your eyes and let me know how it worked. And then I'll try it if it worked for you, okay? But you go first. But that's what Jesus did. Jesus spits in this guy's eyes. Like, imagine being that guy just standing there, okay? You got to have a little bit of excitement built up, right? A little bit of, like your friend, you can't see, and your friend say, Yeshua is in our village right now. And he's like, what, really? Yeah, come on, let's go see. And you're starting to get a little excited, right? Now, here's the thing, is that the text indicates with him and understanding that what trees look like, and understanding, that what he's seeing is people, even though he's seeing it vaguely. And then the text says that his sight is restored. That's indication that he could at one time in his life see. He wasn't born blind. Right, so he could at one point in his life see, and so he's remembering immediately, like, oh man, I wonder, I haven't seen the color red in so long, man. Just this excitement of what he once had, and here he comes to Jesus, and he's all excited, and right away there has to be a little bit of a letdown because you're expecting, at least what I would be expecting is like Jesus say, okay, boom, like I can see, but first I got to go on this, short trip outside the village, and we get outside the village, and I'm standing there, I can't see, and all of a sudden I feel this. And I hear and I'm thinking, did he just spit on me? Like, did he just do that? Right? But before I can really process what's happened, he says, hey, I need you to open your eyes and tell me what you see. And Now I'm really excited. And I open my eyes. Just imagine that for a second. Oh, well, I mean, it's a little bit better, right? Like, I mean, I can see that these are people. If I'm being honest, they look like trees, but they're people. I can see them moving, and it's exciting. Honestly, I've heard that you're capable of a little bit better than that, though. Just the kind of disappointment there. But then Jesus touches him again, and his sight is fully restored, and he can see clearly. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about today is how healing happens. How healing happens, all right? Here's the thing, is that we live, what I believe this text is pointing to, and I want to say this, because here, just being real, this idea of blindness, it kind of hits close to home for the Koa family this week, especially regarding a diagnosis that's happened this past week. Hits close to home. My job as a preacher, though, since most of us are not blind, is to apply the text to you and talk, to look at the theological principle and then bring it home. And I'm going to do that. But before I do that, I don't want to just blow past the fact that we have a God, and that we serve a God, and that we love a God who loves us and who heals us. And I'm not talking like, yeah, he heals my heart and, he makes me. I'm talking like we have a God who is capable of miraculous healing, physical miraculous healing. I don't want to just blow past that, right? Jesus walked the earth and miraculously healed people. And it was crazy. It was awesome. And that can still happen, right? We have a God who can heal. I don't want to just get past that and go on to like we have a God who loves us and who can heal us, right? And we have a God that even if we don't experience physical healing on this side of eternity, right? One day we will be fully healed. Those of us who are in Jesus, we will experience a full, total physical healing. I'm not going to need these. Those are going to be gone, right? The joints issues that you have, sitting down, standing, those are going to be gone, right? Any type of ailment is going to be gone. Physical healing is ours in the name of Jesus. All right? So I don't want to just go past that. Now I am going to go past that, okay? So we live in this world that a lot of people call the already and the not yet, right? Those of us who are in Jesus, who are in Yeshua, we live in the already and in the not yet, right? We are already redeemed. That's already happened for those of us who are washed by the blood of Jesus. We are already clean. That's already here. That's already ours. But we are not yet fully sanctified. We still have to deal with sin and brokenness. That's still an issue, right? So that's the already and the not yet, okay? So as we live in this already and the not yet, here's the thing is that I think I shared here before that my mom one time purchased a gym, like an actual gym where they do gymnastics, which was one of the coolest experiences of my entire high school. Like we slept and stayed the night there. All my friends would come there. Like it was so much fun. But the first night we had it, literally the first night we had it, I hyped it up. Like I'm calling my friends. I'm like, yo, my mom bought a gym. Like everything's going to be signed over on this day. Like it's a Friday, and so we're all going to meet there. We're all going to stay the night at the gym. We're going to have this huge party at the gym. And I'm calling everybody. Actually, I was probably texting them. Let's be real. So I'm getting hold of my friends. I'm like, hey, let's do this. This is going to happen. And sure enough, like we had like maybe 20 people in there. Like it was a blast, and we're all having a bunch of fun. My mom's chaperoning. And my mom is a good mom, so she's keeping a close eye on things. But one thing that I did, there was, those in-ground trampolines, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like they're like in the ground at those gymnastics places. And there's the floor that's kind of springy, they do all the cool flips on it. Well, there's a space maybe about 10 feet or so in between, right? So I found this mat that fit in between. I put the mat there, and I got one of the mini tramps. And we were running, and I would jump, and I would flip over the mat, and I would land on the trampoline, right? It was so much fun. Well, the first night there, I had done that successfully a couple times. I run, I jump, I flip, I land, and dude, like something happened in my ankle, and it hurt so bad. And I let out with this, ah! I yelled. I'm limping. I'm walking back, and I sit down on a stool. My mom looks, and she goes, you tore your ligaments. I know you tore your ligaments because all that bunched up bundle right there is them torn, and they've receded up, and they're all bunched up right there. And I was like, oh. She's like, you need to go to the emergency room. I refused. I said, I'm not going to, we have all these people here. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to kick them out. If I go to the emergency room, you got to go with me. We got to tell them to leave. She's like, yes, you're right. I was like, no, I'm not. So I put up a fight, and she's like, all right, fine, it's your ankle. Natural consequences parenting there, she knew what it was going to happen, but I'm putting up a fight, so she was like, okay, well, we'll see what you think in the morning. She was right. I should have gone to the emergency room because in the morning, it was difficult. So we did. We went to the urgent care after that. They looked at it. They told me I was an idiot for not coming in the night before, but I was there now, and we had to keep going back to the doctor, and I had to get this boot and then an air cast thing, and we kept going back to the doctor. I kept getting treated, but then whenever I wasn't with the doctor, I was just kind of listening to what they told me. Here's the thing: is that's not what our relationship with Jesus should be like in between this already and the not yet. It shouldn't be this. Jesus is a physician. He is that, but he's not just like a physician that we go to and that we visit, and then he writes us a prescription and we go home, and he's there and we can call him if we want to, but really we have what he said and like that. It's not that. Okay, and it's not like a counselor, right? I have a counselor friend that before COVID hit, I was seeing on a regular basis. I was going to him, I was talking to him regularly, and talking about the emotional stuff because I don't really do emotions well. I'm learning that what I feel isn't always just anger, that there's always something else with it, all the stuff that a lot of us have to do. So I'm dealing with that. I'm going to him, I'm talking to him, right? It's not just like that either. We don't need Jesus like we need a physician, and we don't need Jesus like we need a counselor. We need Jesus like we need air, right? It's something that we have to constantly be in, that we're constantly reaping the grace of, right? Now, there's the thing, just like air, a lot of times we breathe and we don't think about it, right? Just like Jesus, a lot of times we are experiencing the grace of Jesus and we're not thinking about it. We're not thinking. Here's the thing: is that Colossians tells us that Jesus is all and that Jesus is in all. Colossians 3 is one of my favorite passages. I'll reference it a lot for as long as you know me. I will almost always go back to Colossians 3 because it's just awesome. It says Jesus is all and he's in all. So that means even for the non-believer, even for the believer that's kind of living in the flesh a little bit with an issue, whoever you are, Jesus is all around you. Jesus is there. He's sustaining. All things were created through him, John says, and without him, there wasn't anything that was made. So he's all in all, right? But just like air, whenever we think about our breathing, does it change a little bit? It does. You're like, okay, I don't know if you know this or not, you're not supposed to breathe through your mouth, right? It's actually better to breathe through your nose, right? You might breathe a little bit deeper and a little bit calmer whenever you think about your breath. Maybe whenever you're feeling anxious and you realize you're breathing kind of shallow and quick, and you pause for a second and say, okay, take deep breaths, right? Right? Whenever you think about your breathing, it gets a little bit better. You're a little bit more grateful for the ability to breathe, right? Just like with Jesus, while we're always living in his grace, while we're always taking advantage of his common grace that he's given us, while that's always there and we're always living in that and dealing with that, whenever we think about it, like whenever we are actually consciously aware, oh my goodness, like right now, I'm in the presence of my Savior. It's better, right? It's good. And it's in that where we experience really awesome, really powerful healing in his presence with him. Right? So that's what the already and the not yet is. I wanted to bring this over here so that I could set my Bible down. I've been holding on to it. That's what the already and the not yet is, right? We're in there, we're in the already and the not yet. Jesus' presence is with us, but whenever we're consciously aware of it, man, like that. That's what Paul means whenever he says pray without ceasing. He's not talking around like saying the Lord's Prayer on repeat all the time, where you can't have a conversation because you're well, sorry, I can't talk to you because I'm praying right now. That's not what he's saying. A constant awareness that you are in the presence of a living God who loves you and who has died to save you, rose from the dead, conquered. It's constantly living in that. That's praying without ceasing. And that's accessible to us. Like, if you're thinking, like, that's not possible, that's possible, and it's awesome, okay? I'm not speaking from experience because there are times whenever I mess up, but I'm telling you from having a little bit of a track record there, it's awesome. It's really, nothing bothers you, everything's fine. Like it's just great. It's just so cool because you have a God who loves you and you're focused on that, right? So as we live in this already in the not yet, that's what I believe whenever Jesus heals this blind man, whenever he tells him to open his eyes and he kind of sees everything that's blurry, right? Well, already, healing is his, right? Jesus is going to heal him. He's no longer going to be a blind man after encountering Jesus, right? But at the same time, it's not quite perfect, right? I believe that's what Jesus is wanting us to kind of wrap our minds around. I believe that's why it's been recorded in the text. I believe that's why we're looking at it today, is to be reminded of how this healing happens, right? Because here's the thing is we kind of, as Christians, we've misled a lot of people, right? Into thinking that, man, whenever you come to Jesus, all the pain just goes away. Whenever you come to Jesus, like all the trauma from your past, it's not an issue anymore. Oh, well, whenever you come to Jesus, like everything's better. Okay, well, yes and no, right? That's the already and the not yet. That's the blurry vision, okay? So here's the thing, is that blurry vision is there, but what are we supposed to do with this blurry vision? And that's the question I want to ask you. What do we do with it whenever it's blurry? And here's the thing, here's what I don't want you to do. I really cannot see very well without my glasses. There was a time whenever I wore contacts, I wore hard contacts. Anybody wear hard contacts? They're miserable. They're what they sound like. They're hard, okay? And you put them in your eye, which is soft. Okay, so they go in your eye, and that's tell you how bad my eyes are. They didn't have soft contacts that would make me see, and the eye doctor said, we can make hard contacts for you, but they're really uncomfortable. And I was really self-conscious. I was like, well, I don't want to wear glasses anymore because I feel like I'm more attractive without them. So I, I don't want them. And so they were like, okay, well, it's going to be painful, but if you want to do it, then I did. I dealt with it, and eventually my eyes got used to it. But then what happened over years is they actually started to wear calluses in the corner of my eyes. And I went to the eye doctor because my eyes are hurting constantly, and he says, okay, yeah, time for hard contacts is done. Can't wear them anymore. They're damaging your eye. And I was like, all right, fine. How about soft contacts? I said, well, the soft contacts won't work. We don't have soft contacts that'll work for you. Now they do because technology, but now they're expensive, so I just wear glasses. So anyway, and I got a really attractive wife, so what do I care? So anyway, but after I had to take those contacts out and couldn't wear them anymore, I treated my glasses like they were reading glasses, right? Like, oh, I only need them if I'm going to read what the teacher put in front of me. So I'm walking around in school like, oh, time for me to get my reading glasses out. I can't see without them, right? And here's the thing is I was being really stupid, and I was just putting them in my pocket without a case, so they're getting all scratched up, right? I remember going to Six Flags, being like, oh, well, I don't need my glasses, and I put them in my pocket, like I'm riding rides and everything. They're getting all bent up, out of shape, right? I was in denial of how blurry my vision was. Let's not be in denial of how blurry, like as Christians, sometimes we're afraid to say, I don't know. Like, well, how does your God, and we think, oh, well, I got to have a really nice answer to this one because here's somebody who doesn't believe and they're coming to me with a question and I got to answer. And so we come up with something. Sometimes it's okay to just say, man, my vision's blurry. I don't know. But I'll tell you this, at one time I couldn't see at all. Now I can. And what I do see is beautiful. And I know that he's continually restoring it and that one day it'll be fully restored. Like, it's okay to say that. Like, even if you want to use those words, it's beautiful imagery, but whatever, it's okay to say, man, I don't know, but all I know is that he loves me, and I've experienced his love, and I've experienced his presence, and I know that as I pursue him, and he pursues me, that more of that presence, I'll become more aware of it, and I'll be more aware. Maybe I can answer your question a year from now, or 10 years from now, or 20. I don't know, but I'm telling you right now, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's okay to say that. It's okay to just say, I don't know. My vision's blurry. So I don't want us to be in denial about it. But what do we do with it? What do we do with it with what we do see? Well, we see what we see for one purpose, to glorify Yahweh. to advance the kingdom. That's why we see what we see. And as we advance the kingdom, something really cool happens. We begin to see better, right? As we press into him and we realize his pursuit of us, and as we use the gifts that he's given us to advance his name, to push his name, to make the world and our spheres of influence more aware of him, as we do that, then we begin to see more. He begins to bless us with more. We begin to get more of who he is revealed to us. And here's what's really cool, more of who we are revealed to us. Right? So that's what we're supposed to do with our vision. That's what with the blurry vision that we have. That's what it's there for, so that we can advance the kingdom. Now, I'm going to ask a question, and this is rhetorical because I've already answered it, but I want all of us to really sit here and think about how blurry our vision is. How blurry is it? The question is, do you have blurry vision? The answer is yes. How blurry is it? What do you see? What do you not see? Here's a really good litmus test for how blurry your vision is to look at how we respond to sin and brokenness in the world. How do we respond to that? Here, we'll make it real practical. We'll make it real. All right? COVID, coronavirus. There are a lot of different schools of thought out there. Yeah, you may not have known, okay? Right? Plandemic, you guys heard of that? Right? You got that. Then you've got the other side that says not like if you don't wear a mask, you're a murderer, right? So there's there's all kinds of there's the 5G thing. You guys heard about that, right? That really this is 5G. That's like there's all kinds of different theories out there as to what's actually going on right now, okay? And I'm sure that you all have your opinions, and I have my opinion, and we all have our thoughts. So here's the thing: here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of debates happening over what's going on with COVID, and I'm seeing a lot of the church getting involved in those debates. How are we responding to sin and brokenness in the world? Is it trying to get others to think the way that we think? Is it trying to change other people's thinking, or is it to introduce them to Jesus? Here's what's really crazy to think about. Jesus had the ability to read minds, because he did it a couple times. Like there's a couple times in the Bible where it says the Pharisees were thinking a question, and then he verbally answers it. So Jesus walked the earth with the ability to know what people are thinking, so therefore he could have addressed every single time talk about what I preached about in last time I preached with the Good Samaritan. You have that guy coming to justify himself. Jesus could have said, "You arrogant punk, what are you doing coming to me trying to justify I can see right through you." Like he could have done that, right? But he didn't. What did he do instead? He loved him and he pointed him to him. What he was going to do. So a lot of us who don't have the ability to read minds, I don't. But even if you do, it doesn't matter because Jesus did. Anyway, a lot of us who don't have the ability to read minds are so focused on trying to get through to people, to change the way that they think, instead of just putting Jesus in front of them. Instead of just introducing them to the Savior. Or if there's somebody who already knows Jesus, instead of just reminding them of the Savior. Instead of just pointing them to him. How often are your thoughts directed towards your Savior? How often are your thoughts directed towards Jesus? Whenever you talk to somebody and there's a disagreement, or whenever you talk to somebody who's struggling with an issue, how often do you use that as an opportunity to point to Jesus? That's the litmus test for how blurry the vision is in this already and the not yet. It's how do we respond to sin and brokenness in the world? Do we see it as an opportunity to point to Jesus, or do we see it as an opportunity to get people to think like we think? It doesn't just apply to COVID. It's politics, parenting styles, I mean, you name it, all of it. The way people should dress, the length of someone's hair. I'm not speaking from experience on that one. Like whatever it is. Whatever, it's an opportunity, all of it's an opportunity to point to Jesus. Are we doing that? And I'm not here to shame you if you're not. I'm just here to say that, well, we should be. And if you're not, when we're not, it's an opportunity for us to be reminded, man, my vision's blurry. Praise Jesus that it's not really contingent upon me because he's all in all. He's pursuing me. I'm living in his grace, whether I point, like how often I mess that up or not. Like I'm living in it. So it's not here to guilt you, but it's just an awareness of like, hey, there's something better. There's an opportunity to have better vision. There's an opportunity to actually know him more and know yourself more. I say that because Colossians 3, if I can take a jump, hop, and a skip back to Colossians 3 again. Colossians 3 tells us that who we are is hidden in Jesus. So all these questions about who you are and all this pursuit of trying to find out who we are is hidden in our Maker. So it's actually in pursuing him that he reveals more to us. And actually later on in Colossians 3, it says that our knowledge is being renewed according to the image of our Creator, Jesus. Our knowledge is being renewed according to his image. So that's a continual process. It's not a one and done. That's already in the not yet. Okay? Now, another question I want to ask is, what is blurring our vision? So we have blurry vision, right? We now know how to test and see how blurry it is. So now we got to ask, what is it that's blurring it? What's blurring our vision? Now, I have a really general one that I can use for the church. You guys ever notice that we talk about theology like it's an attractive feature on somebody of the opposite gender? You guys ever notice that? Like, I don't know if you've ever said to your wife, I think I've said this to my wife, like, man, your theology is hot. Like, that's some good theology, babe. Or like if you find out that like your spouse is looking at like somebody, like a teacher that you don't like, you're like, were you checking out her theology? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys ever notice that? Like, we get real defensive. I had a bush in my front yard. Okay, can you show that first picture? It's Mother's Day, so this is appropriate. So this is Crystal and Zion, and this is the bush that's in our front yard, right there in front of our window. Okay, and whenever I first moved into our house a few years ago, that bush, there wasn't somebody living in it for a while, and that nobody was trimming the bush, and it was overgrown. Now I know nothing about botany. I know nothing about like landscaping. I'm ignorant. Okay, I mow the yard. That's it, and that's only sometimes. Okay, but there's this bush, and I can tell, like, hey, that's hanging out over the sidewalk. That's going to be a problem because people are supposed to walk on the sidewalk. So I go to Home Depot, and I get this battery-powered hedge trimmer, and I'm going to take care of this like a man at my house. And I start trimming, and all of a sudden, like, all the leaves are gone. It's just like branches. I was like, well, I just killed it, right? So then I found out I didn't kill it, that I just cut past the leaves. That I thought, again, I know nothing, so you can laugh at this. I thought, like, oh, there's leaves like all the way down to the base of it because it's a bush, right? It's all just a bunch of leaves. Well, there's not. The leaves are just on the top. So when you cut past that, it's just branches, okay? Well, then I'm like, well, I really messed that up. So then I just cut like the layer of leaves off, but it was still really big, like. And then I wasn't trimming it. And eventually that one part grew leaves back, and so the bush kind of went like this a little bit, okay? But like it was there, and I would try to trim it, but it would grow faster than what I would trim it. And so this week, COVID-19's got us all home, looking at our homes and, trying to figure out what we're going to do. We're trying to do something different. I'm looking at that bush, and somebody came over to my house I had to sign some papers for, Zinnia and getting Zinnia established. And he comes over, and I sign the papers, and then he's leaving, and I notice he's talking to me, and he's walking on my sidewalk like this because the bushes are so far out. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this. Like, this bush is a problem, and I got that same electric trimmer that I had that I used several times on the bush, and I went to town. Can you show him that picture? There it is. You see it? Look, that was a lot of work. okay? Because I quickly found out that the trimmer wouldn't cut through a lot of the branches because they were so thick, so then I had to get loppers, and I had to individually cut every branch, and I had to make sure it was even. That's pretty even, guys. That's pretty even, okay? Now I'm told that it will grow back, okay? Time will tell, right? But I'm also told that it will take a while for it to grow back. So this is what the front of our house looks like for the time being. But here's the thing. What's that? Exactly. So here's the thing, is sometimes our theology is so beautiful and so luscious and so green, but it's so big, and we put it at our front door, and it actually keeps people from coming in. And we think that our vision is good because we have this nice big green theology, but really, it's blurry because we're not seeing the people that are walking past our door because, well, I'm not going to go in there because whenever it rains, it's wet, and I get all wet whenever I walk past it. I was talking about the bush that time, not theology, but you get the idea. That did happen. You get drenched whenever it rains. Anyway. Now, that looks ugly. Well, not that. The picture of my bushes looks ugly, right? But it's a lot easier to get in my house. It's a lot easier to walk on that sidewalk. Sometimes we have to look at what we're holding on to too tightly. Theology, right? Politics, COVID-19 ideas, right? Maybe you're a grandparent and you're looking at your children raise their kids and you're thinking, wow, they're really screwing up, right? Whatever, like you're looking at the work ethic of the younger generation, and if only they could, buck up. Or maybe you're looking at the older generation and they're just so set in their ways and they're not flexible at all, and they're what's wrong with whatever. Like, we hold on to those things so tightly, and we think it's so important, we think it's so good, and we think that we're so right. But really what's happened is we have this huge barrier that's right in our front door. And we think that we can see so clearly, but really we are so blind. And it's important, and I'm not saying that we're wrong. Maybe you're right? Maybe your parenting strategy is better, okay? Maybe your theology is spot on. But here's the thing, is that there's a lot of people with good theology that will not make it to heaven. There's a lot of people with really bad theology. We're going to get there, and we're going to be like, you're here? Right? What? But you said this on YouTube, right? So anyway, we're going to be surprised. Good theology doesn't save us. Having an accurate COVID-19 idea, here's the thing, is that might heal you, or that might preserve you from COVID-19, but it does nothing for your soul. Right? So that doesn't heal us. Jesus does. And so then let's go back to that first question about what we're supposed to do. Here's what we're supposed to do. It's really easy. We're supposed to be like the friends of this blind man. Whenever we can see clearly enough to see Jesus and see clearly enough to see blind people, we're to take them to Jesus, or better yet, bring Jesus to them. Because Jesus prayed that we be one with him, like we're one, so where we go, there he is. With our vision, when we see clearly, it's to just bring people to Jesus. Bring blind people to Jesus so that they might see. It might be blurry at first. That's okay. Because they'll continue to walk with him, and they'll continue to press within him, and they'll continue to be healed. And that's our responsibility, to press into him, to be healed, to bring others to him so that they might be healed. That's how healing happens. We're going to take about 5 minutes of silence right now. If you brought communion elements, you're encouraged to take those. Like those of you watching online, you're encouraged to take the communion elements at home. But we're going to spend 5 minutes, and I want you to spend time pondering those questions. How blurry is my vision? Like, what are some opportunities? What are some conversations I've had this week where I could have pointed to Jesus and I didn't? And don't wallow in that. Like, don't feel guilty about that. Jesus died for that, right? It's like that transgression's done. But being aware of it is good, so that we can clear our vision up. And then start wondering, like, asking, What is it specifically that's blurring my vision? What thoughts am I holding? Where are my bushes? Where do they need to be trimmed? Maybe to the point that they're ugly, just so that people can get in. And then start asking and wondering, who in my sphere of influence right now, even though we're isolated, we still have ways of contacting, who do I need to contact? Believer, non-believer, who do I need to reach out to in love and show Jesus to? I'm trusting that the Spirit will provide somebody for you right now as you pray at home, as you pray here, as you ponder that in these 5 minutes of silence. I trust that the Spirit's going to bring somebody to mind, and then I encourage you guys to do that. So, Father, we come to you, all of us here, all of us watching online now, all of us that are watching online later. We come to you thanking you for your grace that is constant. What do we need to do with the blurry vision that we have? How can we start advancing your kingdom right here, right now, today? Who do I need to contact today? Who do I need to love today? I pray that you reveal somebody, Spirit, reveal somebody to each one of us so that we can do that, so that we can begin using our blurry vision, our blurry vision, but a blurry vision of a perfect Savior to bring